concerned. One of those games that can become very addicting to play.
3-1 now from Manoah. Last night, Cameron Gann came into the game and walked the first two batters and fortunately got out of the first inning thanks to a line drive double play on a hit and run. 3-1, Lair up on the grass over at third. Manoah's pitch swung on foul tipped. And we're at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Freddie DeJesus is the home plate umpire today. Manoah getting the signals from Anthony Peroni. 3-2, big pitch early. And this is popped up third base side. Laird charging back after it into foul ground on the apron, makes the catch. Manoah recovers from the 3-1 count, gets the foul pop up to start the afternoon. And now Jose Rosario, the second baseman, will come to the plate. Rosario has been an awfully tough out in this series. He is 3 out of 4 with a home run and has walked 5 times. We've also seen him make some marvelous plays at second base. He turned in 3 gems last night.
What it is about second baseman here. Rosario, Melvin Mercedes. What did Mercedes do over the past couple of days? Like you said, though, nothing should just come as a surprise anymore.
Ranging up the middle, ranging to his left. One out, nobody on, and to Rosario. It's upstairs for a ball, 1-0. He and Trace Lair have been just giving that home run or that home plate shield back and forth. Nobody can throw a ball to either one, or I should say a strike to either one. Sorry, late night last night. Fouled off to the right, 1-1.
I knew what you meant.
Wow. I'll get it together at some point this afternoon. Did you ever have one of those days where the alarm went off and your first question is, why is it going off so early?
Oh, yes.
Rosario batting at 1 ball, 1 strike. Manoah comes back. That's a beauty.
Yeah, the alarm goes off, but you don't actually wake up till about an hour and a half later.
It's over 4 hours later. I still haven't.
Oh. And that was even a rain-shortened game.
By innings.
Yeah.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Jose Rosario. The motion and to the plate. It's fouled away. And this is what Charleston's been doing all weekend. Spoiling a lot of pitches. 3 hours, 41 minutes for the 9 innings Friday night. 259 for 6 innings, plus a batter last night.
Well, when you have 131 walks in a game, that's going to happen.
Still 1-2 on Rosario, a former Red Sox and Yankees farmhand. Manoah into his motion, the pitch in on the hands and fouled straight back over our heads.
Well, I like the pitch too. Tried to bust him inside, and Rosario just enough to fight it off.
He had 12 home runs, did Rosario, for Gateway in the Frontier League last year, and he also had 22 doubles there, batting .288. Charleston has just picked him up within the last week or so. Breaking ball, grounded towards shortstop. Coming in on it is Felice, and that is 2 outs here in the top half of the first inning. And it brings on Alfredo Gonzalez. He has had some weekend. On Friday night, he went 3 for 3, 2 homers, a single, 5 runs batted in. He walked the other 2 trips. Last night, he was 1 for 3, though one of the outs, we'll put outs in quotation marks, he reached on a 3rd strike wild pitch. And then he hit a grand slam in the 6th inning. First pitch thrown by reliever Cole Aker. Deposited on the hillside out and left. One-time Chicago White Sox player, but not for very long. Alfredo Gonzalez awaiting the offering from Manoah. And that's across for a strike called. It's 0-1.
Needless to say, I think he likes it here. My goodness. And we still have 4 more games with what,
including
Monday,
today.
Yeah,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
that's right. The off day tomorrow.
They get to enjoy Lancaster County and the surrounding areas. Fastball moves him back off the plate. That was looked like a two-seamer that ran in on him, and that might not be the worst idea here. Gonzalez caught the opener of the series, switched to third base last night. In the lineup for Billy Horn today as the designated hitter. 1 ball and 1 strike with 2 outs, nobody on here in the top half of the first inning. Manoah out of the line, and Gonzalez will have nothing to do with the breaking ball as it drops outside and low. And that's when you know a hitter's seeing the ball well. He recognized fairly early on that was going to break out of the zone. He started toward it, said, not my pitch.
Well, and that was the pitch that was working so well for Manoah that night against York.
Two balls, 1 strike on Alfredo Gonzalez, and there is a high fly ball again, hit well to left field. Retreating on this one, Torrance all the way back, and the walls will not contain it. He trashes another pitch here.
My
The Barnstormers
goodness.
have got to come up with a plan against him. 4 home runs, 10 runs batted in, and we're just on the 3rd game. He does that stutter step around third base. Maybe he missed it once in his career, who knows, but that's the 2nd home run he's hit to the left side. I mean, you want to talk about a guy who is just hot. He's had an unbelievable weekend here, and that didn't just clear out there either.
No.
That is probably a 390 to 400 foot home run. Now Diego Gariz, the shortstop, will step in. You got to look at that little stutter step he does around third. I watched that last night as well.
You've probably seen it more than once, obviously.
Last night was the first time I picked up on it. Called strike.
Okay.
It's 0-1.
Well, that pitch, Manoah just left too much over the plate, and Gonzalez was just all over it. You're right. I mean, my goodness, this guy is in a zone right now.
0-1 on Gariz. Next offering, he chases it. No balls and 2 strikes.
At least nobody was on base. I mean, that's
The harm is minimal.
yes.
Now the Barnstormers will have to come from behind, something they've done a lot better job at doing as of late. 0-2. The wind, Manoah will deliver, and this time Gariz lays off. Ball 1, 2 strikes. Manoah gave up 3 home runs in the same inning against Staten Island back on July 1. But other than that, that's only the 2nd homer he's allowed. Here's the 1-2. Gariz rides that one foul straight back. Still a ball and 2 strikes. We're seeing what Charleston has done all weekend that other teams have not been as successful at against the Barnstormers all that much, and that's fouling off the 2-strike pitches and good 2-strike pitches. We talked the Barnstormers averaging over the last 5 weeks or so nearly 10 strikeouts per 9 innings, but that hasn't been the case with Charleston here this weekend. Manoah works 1-2, and Gariz hits a high pop-up third base side. Lair charging in. He'll take control of it, and he makes the catch. Now, Manoah has a fairly easy time, except for Alfredo Gonzalez, who does it again. 1 run, 1 hit, no errors, nobody left on. We'll go to the bottom of the first, and the Barnstormers facing lefty Derek Adams with the score 1-0 Charleston. see the Lancaster Barnstormers starting lineup, and at the moment, Ross Peoples does not have all that many options. Jake Hoover for the second straight day, the one guy back on the bench. Tyler Hill and Anthony Peroni reversed last night. Hill caught, and Peroni was the DH, and they both had big nights at the plate. At the top of the order, just continues to produce. Dunston and Mercedes both coming in on lengthy hitting streaks today. Dunston's is at 8, and Mercedes is at 14.
You know, I look at what Dunston has done since he has joined Lancaster, and it is quite impressive. I mean, that has been a magnificent signing by Lancaster.
I've talked about this. If the Barnstormers go on to make the playoffs, as you get a look at the defense for the Charleston Dirty Birds, Rosario has been the most impressive player they've had in the field. But if the Barnstormers go on to make the playoffs this year, Ross has to get serious consideration for manager of the year, because this team has gone through so much. The middle of the order basically gets ripped away from this ball club in the span of a week. And everybody has just so nicely filled in the gaps. But you've had the whole debacle with Alejandro Diaz. You had Connor Lean leaving the ball club and then joining York. You had Mark Zagunis leaving the ball club. There have been a number of different issues that Ross has faced. And somehow with all of that, he's gotten this club better with some of the acquisitions. Trayvon Robinson coming back to Lancaster after initially not wanting to play this year. Now you've got Dunston taking a ball high and inside from the lefty Derek Adams. Sean awaits the 1-0. He will take a strike. It is 1-1. Adams has walked 25, struck out 49 in 58 2/3 innings. He's allowed 71 hits. 1-1. Dunston ground ball easily managed by the second baseman Rosario. And it's just a 3-pitch at bat for Sean. He grounded out 4-3 to start last night as well. Now here is Mercedes. If Melvin gets a base hit today, he will tie Ladarius Clark for the longest hitting streak by a Barnstormer this year at 15. He is batting .283 overall. And the Mercedes first pitch fastball for a called strike. It's 0-1. Now the Barnstormers today have to get over the hurdle against left-handed pitching. 0-2 now on Mercedes. And Adams is off to a very good start today. He's a native of Decatur, Alabama, which is in the western part of the state, maybe northwestern. Ball is low to Melvin. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Went to Jacksonville State in Alabama. Pitched in the Royals organization in 19 and 21. He was in Double-A last year. Numbers were not that good. Here's the 1-2 on Mercedes, taken upstairs. And we have a 2 ball and 2 strike count. Andretti Cordero, the first baseman, waits on deck. The Barnstormers faced a left-handed starter the other night, Ryan Lawler, who was very wild, threw 4 wild pitches, but he ended up leaving the game hurt. And that could be certainly part of the explanation for the 4 wild pitches, and then they were everywhere. They allowed the Barnstormers to score the 2 runs in the second inning, both coming home on wild pitches. 2-2, and Mercedes lifts a fly ball down the right field line. Anthony Seymour is over there. He'll make the catch. 2 up and 2 down here in the bottom of the first inning. Andretti Cordero, the first baseman, will be coming to the plate. .314 with 9 homers and 65 driven in. Cordero has just been such a steady run producer, but he's able to do that because Dunston and Mercedes are on ahead of him so often. He tops this to the shortstop, and it will be handled easily by Goris coming in. That is a 10-pitch 1-2-3 inning for Derek Adams. here in the bottom half of the first. The Barnstormers have to get locked in on a lefty. At the end of one, it's 1-0 Charleston. Folks are out here enjoying a Sunday afternoon, a very overcast Sunday afternoon here in Lancaster, but the threat of rain is small. Unlike last night, where the rains picked up again in the 6th inning. And finally, the plug was pulled on that game. I understood why they kept it going when it was 8-7 or even 9-7. But once it got to be about 13-7 in the bottom half of the 6th, and there were occasional times the showers were coming down with at least medium intensity. And I thought at that point, just pull a plug on this game. It was delayed to start, 3 hours in. It's no longer competitive. Charleston was obviously out of pitching, and they just kept it going, and the Barnstormers kept drawing walks, and it grew to 16-7. When Chase Johnson came out in the 7th inning and threw 4 pitches that weren't even close to the plate, that's when they finally decided that the conditions were getting really treacherous out there. Here's Anthony Seymour, the right fielder today, switch hitter. In from the left side, takes a ball high, 1-0. Seymour has been in right field the last couple of games. He played second base in the series opener on Friday. Lancaster down by 1 on the home run by Alfredo Gonzalez. There's a foul ball off the foot. And Seymour does the dance. Boy, look at those shoes.
Yeah, how about that? That's quite colorful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the socks
to go with the shoes.
Yeah.
That's quite the combination.
The pink ribbon and breast cancer awareness.
Yeah. Pink wristband to go along with it.
Well, and talking about last night too with those conditions. I mean, it's such a fine line, but it comes to a point where if the pitcher can't get a good grasp of the ball, batters might not be able to hold on to the bat. The bases become wet. It becomes dangerous in so many different aspects.
Well, it was Seymour, as you get a look at that foul ball. It got him in the knee. Ow. Or just below the knee. 1-1. Seymour swings and misses. Ball and 2 strikes. You might have been seeing the baseball and stars to boot. Oh, those can hurt. As Seymour slipped and fell going after a Peroni single in the bottom of the 6th. That was our first tip-off that conditions were not good out there. 1-2, laced out to center field. Dunston just about in place, makes the catch. Seymour retired, 1 out. Scott Kelly will come to the plate. Scott Kelly's all about hustle, and he still is. He's been around this league seemingly forever. Last night he pinch hit with the bases loaded when it was 8-5. Hit a potential double play ground ball, but was making a quick dash down the line to first. He forced Anderson Felice to rush the throw. Felice bounced the throw. It got away from Cordero. That led to runs 6 and 7. 1 out, bases clear. Manoah will fire and miss up. 1-0 to Kelly.
Another guy that feels like he's been in the league forever.
Yeah, he was in Somerset for quite a long amount of time, coming out of the College of New Jersey, signed with the Patriots out of a tryout camp. And he's got the ability to play a number of different positions, handles the glove well, he's got speed, and he's all about hustle. He's the kind of guy you can't get rid of.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the batting average is, and he's had years where the batting average has been very good, but he just knows how to play the game. And this is someone, I don't know which club it will be down the road, but this is an Atlantic League manager.
I knew you were going to say that.
Somewhere down the road, Scott Kelly is going to manage a team in this league. 1 ball, 1 strike to the inside corner, 1-2. I mean, by going to the College of New Jersey, you automatically know he was a good student. That is a pretty high-intensity school. And he's got baseball smarts. And just loves everything about the game. Manoah goes to work, 1-2 to Kelly. High pop fly, out of play to the right.
It's kind of amazing too. You just look at a guy and you can just see that he is kind of built for this game. Obviously, like you said, very much a student of the game, and a guy I think that you'll be able to see relate very well to players as a manager. And he sets a good example.
One ball, 2 strikes. Manoah brings it home. That's up and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I've gotten to know Scott over the years, and he's a very engaging young man. Great personality. 2-2 on him. Manoah will fire, and this is skied. Charging after it is Dunston. The hat goes again. Catch is made. 2 putouts for Sean here in the 2nd inning. And it'll bring on Tyler Blum, the first baseman, 288 hitter.
Well, if this league continues to expand, and Kelly's playing days are over in the next couple of years, that could set him up very well for a coaching spot somewhere in this league.
It's how we think of Lou Ford if he ever retires. He could be a player manager when he's 50. I don't know how much longer Wally plans to manage the Ducks. You talk to these guys in August, they're, oh, I'm going to retire. I can't do this anymore. And then you read during the offseason, returning as manager. You can't hang it up. I have those thoughts too. I mean, it's part of this game. You get into the so-called dog days, and you start wondering why you do this to yourself. The Blum fouled back.
But it's in your blood.
And it's 2 weeks after the season's over, you want the next one to start. It's the way it is for everybody in this business. Now there does come a time for everyone where you no longer have that passion, and 2 weeks after the season, you don't want to go back and do it again. Inside and low, ball 2 and a strike. And that decision is different for everyone, depending on the other options you have, your life situation. Breaking ball outside and low, 3-1. I mean, you get some players in who have outside interests. They have another vocation that they're called to ultimately. I've known players who have left baseball to go into the ministry. Ooh, just outside, ball 4. Blum is on. That'll bring on Yovan Gonzalez. 1-0 Charleston leading here in the 2nd.
I think that's part of the intrigue too, just to see the variation of jobs that these guys do either in the off season or once their days are done.
Pete Andrelzik became a teacher. I've known others. I've known guys go into sales, business. I've known a couple of engineers, accountants, and occasionally you'll get a doctor. 2 outs. Blum, the base runner, held by Andretti Cordero. Manoah out of the set. First time in the game he's thrown from the set. Breaking ball to Yovan Gonzalez, who was with Kelly those years in Somerset. A lot of Patriots, former Patriots, went to Charleston last year with Mark Minikazi. Some followed him to the Genomes. Others stayed in Lexington. That is line down the right side and hopping out to the wall. It will be played there by Robinson. Blum will stop at third, and Gonzalez parked at first with a long single. Trayvon Robinson played that very well off the base of the right field wall to keep the runners at first and third. We've seen this swing before out of Yovan Gonzalez. I talked about it last night, how he beat the Barnstormers on a home run just fair down the right field line to walk off in the bottom of the 10th opening night one year. 2 outs. The batter is the third baseman, Scott Burcham. And all of a sudden, a threat facing Eric Manoah.
A nice thing for Robinson. He got that high bounce off the wall right into his mitt. If that goes either direction, Blum scores.
Fastball is high. 1-0 on Burcham, a .230 hitter. He hits a smash to the shortstop. Felice, quick toss to Melvin Mercedes, and Manoah is out of the jam. Here in inning 2. 1 hit, 2 left. Still 1-0 Charleston. Three more against the Dirty Birds after tonight. We'll have them all for you on Blue Ridge 11. Then the Barnstormers will go to York next weekend with a very unusual Friday game time. They'll play at 10 o'clock on Friday night. Midnight Madness, 10 o'clock Friday night. Barnstormers over in York, which I would be perfectly fine. Oh, they're showing ice cream again.
Wow.
Evelyn and Jody enjoying some Turkey Hill at the ballpark this afternoon.
Oh, man. It does look good, doesn't it?
Oh, man.
Well, the silver lining to that is they didn't get a nap in the afternoon, get caught up on some sleep.
The downside, I would be fine with that if the Sunday game were at 5 in the afternoon, but we've got to convert from 10 o'clock Friday night to 1 o'clock or 1:30 Sunday afternoon.
Ooh.
Yeah, that could be a rough one. Here is Trayvon Robinson leading off. Robinson now with 30 runs batted in on the year. He has 16 in the last 8 games. Playing right field today. Derek Adams into the motion. He's upstairs for ball 1-0. Billy Horn has been short on pitching. I've actually wondered about the Barnstormers making a trade with the Dirty Birds sometime during this series you could see guys switching dugouts 1-1 because they've got 14 position players. The Barnstormers are in need. And Lancaster is long on the pitching side. Lashed foul. Look out on that one.
Thus the reason for the netting.
Robinson batting 1 and 2. Trayvon and I have plans tonight.
Oh yeah?
We'll be hitting the lanes. 1-2 pitch, little chip shot out towards center, fading back on it. Rosario, he's got that. 4 in a row set down by Adams.
So is he a trash talker?
He's not with me.
No.
I mean, in general, I would imagine. But with Trayvon, always fun. Anderson Felice stands in, and he's back to batting right-handed. Well, that's a good sign. First time since his 3 weeks on the shelf with the oblique that he's been able to step in and bat from the right side. Adams to the plate, and that's lined out toward right field, and there is Seymour again. He had that position perfectly. Hit very well by Felice. Just good to see him back batting from the right side of the plate.
Yeah.
That means he's 100%. Tyler Hill will now come in. 5 in a row, retired by Derek Adams, and he has done it very quickly.
We're just going back to Felice, too. When you have an oblique injury, that's not something that just heals overnight. That takes some time.
And you never think it does when it first happens either.
Yeah. But a real good swing and contact by Felice, so hopefully a very encouraging sign.
I remember when Lance Zawadski showed up in 16, told me, missed the first day or two of practice in spring training. 3 weeks into the season, he still wasn't playing. 2-0 the count on Hill, who was 3 for 4 and was hit by a pitch in his Barnstormers debut last night, and now he gets ball 3. On deck is Anthony Peroni, whose bat has come back to life. Spotted in the zone, and Hill will bat 3-1 against Adams, who's just moving the ball around pretty well.
Isn't that the number vacated by Colton Shaver?
It is. Strike taken on the inner corner. So we go to 3-2.
Well, aside from Ross, I'm sure the next guy that's happy to see Tyler Hill is Peroni, just to get a spell every now and then.
He needed the break. I saw it Friday night. Fouled to the screen. We continue at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Late in the game on Friday night, it looked to me like Peroni was a little bit fatigued. He struck out looking 3 times in a row, committed a pass ball. It just didn't look as sharp, and that's going to happen. If you're not used to playing every day and then all of a sudden you've caught 4 games in a row, it's going to catch up to you. 3-2, Hill will get the walk, and Anthony will step in. First base runner for the Barnstormers today.
You're not only catching consecutive games when you're not used to it, but the weather the last week was hot and humid, and you've got that equipment on. That's got to take a toll on you. But Peroni's been swinging the bat very well over the past week.
His average up to 195. He's on a 4-game hitting streak, his longest of the year. He's 6 out of 16 during the streak, with a double and 3 runs driven in. Tyler Hill, the runner at first base, as Peroni stands in against Adams. The pitch is a bit inside, says Freddie DeJesus. We continue to see more walks than strikeouts in this series. It's been against the grain of the rest of the season. 1-0 on Peroni. Next offering is launched off to the right and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Over the course of the last week or so, Anthony has become a much more visible entity on this Barnstormers Club. Ground ball foul down the first baseline. He has been doing a lot of the PR stuff for us this week. did an interview about playing here in this stadium with Channel 8. I take that, but with not Channel 8, but with LNP the other day, and did a video for us yesterday saying the game was still on. High pop fly out toward right center field, and again the put out for Seymour. That is the third put out for the right fielder. So either the Barnstormers are going to start getting the distance, or they're going to have to go away from that. We're at the end of 2, and it's still 1-0 Charleston. You get a look at the birthday teenager. We can no longer refer to Silo as a child because Silo is actually 18 now. Silo's been driving for a while. It's hard to get those big shoes to work on the pedals, though. They have to be specially designed.
And what were you saying about it? The chance of rain is slight?
That's what the weather forecast
guess
seemed
what?
to be. It's raining. Well, slight's better than none. It was the percents were in the teens until like 5 o'clock, but apparently we're getting hit early. Fans are being chased upstairs. Here is Nick Heath, the center fielder, leading off the third.
I mean, don't get me wrong. We need the rain, but can we wait till after the game?
Please, no delays. Yeah, I've noticed the last few times I've gone over the Susquehanna River, it's pretty low.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that by what hit here yesterday. We got inundated around 4 o'clock. Inside for a ball on Heath, who fouled out his first time up. It is 1-0.
It's coming down pretty good. You can see it on the screen.
And I don't know how much more this field can absorb either after yesterday and last night. It was covered during the day, but it wasn't covered in that 6th inning last night when the showers, it was like somebody was just playing with the faucet. 2 balls, no strikes to Heath. Manoah is down and in for ball 3. 3-0. Fans being chased up under the cover. And when it starts to rain, the pitching can get a little sloppier. The defense can get a little sloppier. The base running, definitely. Never good baseball in the rain. 3-1, hard hit ground ball. There is Cordero. He's got a very smooth glove over there. 3 unassisted. Heath's retired. Second at bat in a row, he's been at 3 balls and a strike. One of the things I love about the Atlantic League is the way these players often react with each other. They have fun out there. And that's why you don't see too many altercations.
I think Cordero likes to talk with everybody down there.
He's a friendly guy. He's a lot of fun. I love having Andretti here. And not just, he's such a good player, and I can't believe we still have him, but he's a guy who likes to have fun. Fouled out of play to the right. It is 0-1. And you know what's on my bucket list, and I don't know when I'm going to do this, but I want to go watch a Winter League game in the Dominican Republic at some point. Probably after I retire, but I want to go down there because I really want to understand all the years I have dealt with players from the Dominican Republic. I've known them. Luis Polonia was the first guy I knew back in 1984 when he was coming up with Oakland. And their passion for the sport is incredible. Ground ball toward third. Lair able to handle that tricky hop. He fires across, 2 down. And now, oh boy, Alfredo Gonzalez comes in.
Yeah.
But they have such a love for the game, and they're, they grow up, so many of them, not everybody, but they grow up in intense poverty. They grow up playing with rolled up socks and broomsticks or whatever, whatever they can get their hands on. But they just play and they enjoy it, and it really has become what that island nation is known for, is baseball players.
Right. That's their ticket out.
It is the ticket out.
And you're right. And you think about it, they're using a stick as a bat, and they really don't have a glove. And just think how fundamentally sound they become as far as their focus is concerned.
Alejandro De Aza told me a story last year of him getting signed by the Dodgers. He said he was just playing a pickup game on, I think it was a Sunday. It was on his one day off from work. As a teenager, he was working to support his family. And there's Gonzalez going out of the yard, but fouled on the right side. It is 1-1. And a Dodger scout just happened to be driving by, watched the game, and he asked De Aza if he wanted to play professional baseball, and Alejandro said, my first response was, I can't. I have to work to support my family. And the scout told him, I'll give you whatever the number was, week's salary if you'll come to our camp. And the next thing Alejandro knew, he was signing for the big bucks, and his family never had to worry about it again. He was supporting, I think it's like 4 sisters, and it was a great story. It really brings out the humanity of this game, and I've always had this desire to go there and see for myself. 1-2, fastball, and did we get him this time? High fly ball, center field. He got underneath that one, and Dunston is there to make the play. Manoah with a 1-2-3 inning. In the top half of the third, we're through 2.5. It's still 1-0 Charleston. Those dirty boys, they're at it again, or at least one of them is, Alfredo Gonzalez. Canary in a coal mine, that is the essence of the nickname Dirty Bird.
I was not aware that they had coal mines in Charleston.
But maybe not Charleston specifically, but it is the state capital, and it's what West Virginia is known for. And the coal mines are close enough.
Why am I thinking, I'm thinking
Are you thinking
Carolinas?
You're thinking Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah,
now it makes sense.
Charleston, West Virginia.
Okay.
Trace Lair, Devon Torrance, and Sean Dunston will step in. Now the question is, does Lair remember how to swing the bat? He walked 5 times last night and gets ball 1 way upstairs here. It's becoming a running joke. I don't think Lair saw 3 strikes in last night's game. 5 walks. Franchise record. It's ball 2 outside and low, and the Trace Lair shield over home plate is up again. (2-0 pitch, high and inside, 3-0. It's getting to the point where it's surreal. He's walked 20 times in the last 20 games.
But at the same time, you got to show patience. Last thing, I mean, everybody wants to swing the bat, but
here's a 3-0. Oh, it's a strike.
You don't want to get into a habit of going after a pitch that's out of the strike zone because you want to swing the bat. So, tremendous plate presence by Lair.
He's reached base 12 out of his last 13 appearances. Strike 2.
His on-base percentage must be going through the roof.
Yeah. It's been a remarkable run. And the payoff pitch, he has to swing. He lifts a foul ball out of play, and still 3 balls and 2 strikes. I was wondering if he remembered how. Actually, he's been swinging the bat very well lately, along with the walks. 3-2 pitch again from Derek Adams, and there's a line drive, base hit to left. Oh, it may not be a walk, but Trace Lair is on again, and he is fabulous going the other way against left-handed pitching. Leadoff base runner for the Barnstormers here in the 3rd.
Well, and you had said all along that, you looked at his average, and it's starting to creep up now. And we saw that with Mercedes. You said he was down in the 220s. He gets on a hot streak, and his average has started to jump. Let's hope we can see the same out of Lair.
Devon Torrance comes in batting 169 today. He walked 4 times last night and basically got fed up with it. So once the Barnstormers were leading 16-7, he batted with the bases loaded, 2 outs in the 6th inning last night. It's raining. He's like, to heck with this. I'm swinging the bat no matter what. And it took a great play to get him. He grounded out to the second baseman Rosario on a wonderful play from the hole. To Torrance inside. The count squares at 1 each. Barnstormers and Charleston Dirty Birds here on Sunday afternoon to wrap up the first half of this series. It's really to be thought of as 2 consecutive 3-game sets between these 2 ball clubs. Torrance awaiting the 1-1. Adams will come to the plate, but by then time is called. Barnstormers do not go to Charleston until better than halfway through the month of August, and then they'll make 2 trips there, about 3 weekends apart. I enjoy going to Charleston. They've got some great areas around downtown. Great food. Swing and a miss. That's 1 ball and 2 strikes, and I love the setting of Appalachian Power Park. You have the mountains in the background.
Oh. So this is kind of an unusual series, having back-to-back series at one time. I mean, the only time I can think of this is when you used to go down to Sugar Land and play 6 or 7 games.
Here's a 1-2, and Torrance lifts a foul out of play to the right. He'll continue. Trace Lair, the runner at first base, they can't forget about him. He's 7 for 7 stealing. Well, it's unusual to have the off day in the middle, too. But everybody in this league has decided that Mondays are to be off days, and it's universal around the league. 2-2 pitch is bounced. Charging towards second base is Lair, and the throw ends up out in center. Lair will need some time to get up so he can advance. The Barnstormers have a runner in scoring position. Jovan Gonzalez getting on that, and it will be a stolen base because he had broken before the ball gets in the dirt, as I understand it. But and it is a steal. He's 8 for 8.
That was a heck of a play by Gonzalez. First of all, great stop, and then the ball deflected right in front of him, so he had an easy pickup and a throw down to second.
Torrance now trying to get him at least a third, and he will on the wild pitch. Torrance draws the walk. Wow. Another walk for Torrance. That should have counted for ball 4 and 5. Wild pitch sending Lair to third. And Lancaster has men at the corners with nobody out. Sean Dunston Jr. stepping in.
Well, you had mentioned too with the game last night, Dunston had tremendous RBI opportunities all night long.
He drove in 5. He batted with 11 runners on base in a span of 4 innings, which is silly if you stop to think about it. Here's the offering to Sean. It's high. 4 innings, 4 at bats, 5 innings. He knocked in 5, his best as a Barnstormer by 2. 16 runs batted in now, and another shot at it. Pickoff throw goes to first. Torrance is back in. Devon has 8 steals, 3 in the last 4 games.
Great opportunity to get the equalizer, and if Dunston can get a base hit, just sets the stage for what could be possibly a big inning.
Mercedes waiting on deck. Here's the 1-0 to Dunston. He fouls it to the left and up toward the stadium rooftop. That one deflects down below. Lancaster's center fielder, 4 out of 9 in this series. Last night he had his 5th triple. If he gets the ball to the gate in right center or down the right field line into the corner, unless it's played very quickly, he's at third. 1-1 pitch, taken low. Another good stop by Jovan Gonzalez. Mercedes waiting on deck. This is an inning where the Barnstormers certainly want to tie the ball game, but they're looking for a multiple run inning out of this.
Especially with this part of the lineup coming up. And granted, they've lost their home run power, but these guys have been able to string singles and doubles.
And walks.
Well, yeah.
And walks. 2-1 pitch, line drive, base hit, right field. Dunston does it again. His hitting streak is at 9. Lair scores, and we're tied at 1. Who knew that Sean Dunston Jr. would suddenly become the team RBI guy?
How about it? Well, when these guys in the lower half of the lineup get on base, and you know, when Clark and then Dugan goes down, everybody's thinking, oh, what's going to happen to this team? But this team has just taken on that responsibility that everybody's going to step up and contribute, and they've done that, and they continue to do that.
Still nobody out. You've got great speed in Torrance and Dunston. Mercedes batting from the right side. Anything is possible here. Adams to the plate. It is outside. Mercedes showed bunt. It's 1-0. 23 extra base hits this year for Melvin. He's had a chance to play the entire season to this point, which is marvelous after 2 seasons here with major injuries. The 1-0, he swings away, ground ball, base hit, left field. The streak is at 15. Here comes Torrance, here comes the throw. It'll be cut off, and the Barnstormers string it together to take a 2-1 lead.
Well, they're starting to get zoned in now on Derek Adams, and they've put together a big 3rd inning here, and still nobody out.
Scott Kelly charging the play. Ross Peoples figuring he can't get off the throw. You've got the speed of Torrance, and Devon ends up scoring easily. Cordero bats with Dunston and Mercedes on. Both hitting streaks have been extended. Mercedes starting to get into club record territory. He's not there yet. Runners take off. The pitch is a called strike. The throw to third is late. Dunston steals his 20th. Mercedes his 12th.
Wow. Dunston looked like he was almost halfway to third base when Adams got rid of this pitch. I mean, he is in there easily.
That was a good throw by Jovan Gonzalez, but he never had a chance.
No.
Now Charleston will bring the infielders in. Lancaster with 2 on the board here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Dunston at 3rd, Mercedes at 2nd. And the 0-1 to Cordero taken low, a ball and a strike. Trayvon Robinson on deck, and then Anderson Felice. A chance for a big Barnstormer inning. 3 stolen bases already. Here's the 1-1. Andretti ground ball. That's fair past the diving first baseman Blum. Here is Dunston home. On the way is Mercedes. The throw will go into second, and they have Andretti Cordero. 2-run single for Cordero. And then the Barnstormers try to grab the extra base and come up a little bit short. Anthony Seymour cutting down Cordero after he drives in his 66th and 67th runs of the year. I can't blame the Barnstormers for going for the second base there, but the throw from Seymour into Goris had Cordero, the third base umpire, looking to make sure that the ball was held before making the signal. Fouled out of play to the right. 0-1 to Robinson. So that takes some starch out of the inning. But it's a 4-run inning. One out, nobody on. Robinson will try to get it going again.
I'll take the aggressiveness.
To Trayvon, a strike, and it's 0-2.
I mean, Cordero came up. He got the 2 runs knocked in, which is what you wanted. Aggressive on the base paths. Why not? Put the pressure on the defense.
Off-speed fools Robinson. He's gone on strikes. That's the second out. And the first strikeout we've seen from either pitcher today. Anderson Felice will come to the plate. He lined to the right fielder Seymour back in the second inning. Well, you have to love the way this inning is played out. The Barnstormers have played some little ball with the 3 stolen bases, and they've gotten the clutch hits. 3 batters in a row. Felice goes chasing one in the dirt. No balls, 1 strike. Anderson leaping back. The count levels at 1 apiece. And now it's up to the pitching staff to hold this. I was telling everybody I wanted a 4-1 win, today in 2 hours and 38 minutes. So I would not terribly mind if this game just scooted right along and the scoreboard stayed as it is. You always want to see your guys get hits.
So we're an hour in. We're going to have to pick up the pace.
Here's the 1-2. Smash. Diving stop by Goris. Did he get enough on the throw? No. Heck of a stop by Diego Goris. Felice beats out the infield single as the ball ended up rolling in to Tyler Blum. And Tyler Hill, the DH, will step in. Nice stop. Tried to get the throw off from his knees. 1 bounce, 2 bounces.
Still made it close. It was a heck of a throw.
Silvio Martinez rolling him safe, and this time I feel pretty secured saying that he was.
Yes. But second consecutive bat now we've seen Felice where he has made good contact.
To Hill, fouled away. A 5 single inning for the Barnstormers. Overcoming the home run back in the first by Gonzalez. Not Jovan, but Alfredo. Tyler Hill walked his first trip. Here's the 0-1 to him, taken for a second strike. Derek Adams, the lefty on the hill today for the Charleston Dirty Birds. This is his 12th start. No balls, 2 strikes. Breaking ball misses up. And I think inside also by the end. Long inning for Adams.
When you mentioned about 5 base hits too, I mean, this is a squad that has lost its home run pop as far as the players are concerned, but guys aren't trying to hit home runs.
There goes Felice swinging a foul back at the count 1-2. Hill had to protect the plate, so Felice will return. But we're definitely seeing, I don't know whether we want to call it Rusey ball or what. Rusey has been Ross's nickname since childhood. And he definitely likes to be aggressive on the bases. And for the first few weeks of the season, we didn't see it. And it was like, what's wrong? And now we do. Ground ball right side. Should be easy for Rosario. He'll go to first with the throw. Hill is retired, but the Barnstormers strike for 4 in the inning on 5 hits. No errors charged, and the 1 runner was left on base. We're done with 3, and the Barnstormers have surged ahead. It's now Lancaster 4 and Charleston 1. Enjoying Barnstormers baseball a Sunday afternoon here at 650 North Prince Street. And even the boomers getting into their cell phones. I do. I'm addicted to mine. It's pitiful. I admit it. I might have to go into cell phone rehab at some point.
It's just a way of life now.
Well, when is it? The dogs are going to be addicted to cell phones. That's what's coming next.
It's got to be paw friendly, though.
Yes. That's what's going to happen next. Diego Goris will lead off the 4th inning for Charleston against Eric Manoah. Manoah's given up 2 hits and a walk over the first 3, but no strikeouts. He'd been averaging 1 an inning. We just haven't seen them this weekend.
Came off a nice 1-2-3 inning last inning. Would love to see that again after being spotted that 4-run inning last inning for the Barnstormers.
Usually it's the entire staff of the Barnstormers with strikeouts. Gann continued last night. He struck out 7 in 5 1/3. But he's the only pitcher so far against Charleston that's been able to rack up the strikeouts. 1 strike on Goris, who fouled to Trace Lair the first time up. 0-1. Did he go too far? I think he did, and so did Silvio. It's 0-2.
Yep. Kind of a very nonchalant called strike down there.
Silvio Martinez is a friendly fellow. Very enjoyable guy to be around. This whole crew is ultimately. John Lamontina is very friendly. So's Freddie DeJesus. 0-2. Outside and low. Ball 1 and 2 strikes. And we've been able to avoid any additional problems since Tuesday and Wednesday.
You said people are still talking about it.
I still hear from folks. Not like I did Thursday and Friday. 1-2 breaking ball. That was a dandy. A swing and a miss. Goris is gone on strikes, and there's number 1 for Manoah. Anthony Seymour will come to the plate. I didn't pick up what gesture of kindness that Anthony Seymour made toward Supernova at Novokoski, our on-field host, but I heard Ed during the commercial break say that Anthony Seymour is now his new favorite dirty bird.
Well, maybe just interaction. Plays along with him.
Seymour lined to Dunston out in center field back in the 2nd inning. 1 out, nobody on here in the 4th. Manoah inside and low. Zeroing in on the pink feet.
Well, let's face it. Supernova is quite colorful with some of his uniform and T-shirt and everything else, and maybe they just took a liking to the bright colors.
1-0. Seymour will take a strike as that fades back to the outside corner. 1-1 the count on Seymour, who hails from the Bahamas. I have been there. Soft liner that will be taken by Melvin Mercedes. 2 outs.
And
Enjoyed it. I was there just for an afternoon. It was part of a cruise. We got to tour around Nassau. Beautiful area. 2 outs, nobody on. Here's Scott Kelly.
is that the one you took mid-season a couple of years ago?
You filled in a couple games. Dave Slade filled in the rest.
I thought
it was more than a couple of years. That was 15 years ago.
No.
It was 15 years ago. It was the summer of 07.
Jeez. Was it wedding anniversary?
It was my in-laws' 50th anniversary.
Okay. Because for you to go somewhere mid-season,
it's got
unheard of.
It's got to be family related. Fastball is high, ball 1 and no strikes.
Oh my God.
Graduations and we had that cruise.
Jeez, I was thinking like 7 or something.
15 years ago. 1 ball, no strikes to Kelly. Manoah serves a breaking ball and misses. 2 balls and nothing. Yeah, you still miss my in-laws. Mom's been gone a couple of years. Dad a little over a year. And they loved their cruises back in the day.
Well, and that's what makes it even more special now, the memories you have from that.
It's not my thing. I don't know that I would ever do a week-long cruise again. Strike taken, it's 3-1. Because it gets a little bit old after a while. I love the ports of call, but being on the open water, you get limited with the number of things you can do. 3-1 pitch is looped out to left center field. There is Dunston. He'll retire Kelly for the second time. Nothing across in the top of the 4th. Manoah starting to take charge. He and the Barnstormers lead it 4-1. More ice cream. It's Sunday. It's Clipper Magazine Stadium. It's Blue Ridge 11. And you know we're going to get all kinds of free advertising for the folks at Turkey Hill. Do they bribe you? I mean, do they
see, that's when it's good
bribe
too,
the guys on the camera?
When it's melted and it's almost like a milkshake.
I'm still devastated that we no longer have black raspberry here. Other good flavors, but as people know, black raspberry is my favorite.
So are you well stocked at your hotel room?
I don't have a freezer big enough, but I will. I will have to admit that I will stop and I will grab a pint of Turkey Hill about once a month and eat that in its entirety after a game. It's a treat. You can't get away with that every night.
Oh my! No.
You'd end up having to somehow shove me through the doorway into here. But I love my ice cream. I really do. Turkey Hill's so good. Here is Anthony Peroni. He flied to right his first time up. Takes a ball up and away from Adams. It is 1-0. Barnstormers leading by 3. Eric Manoah has set down 7 batters in a row. And it is now ball 2 on Anthony with Lair on deck and then Torrance. That was a wonderful at-bat for Lair, starting off that 4-run third inning, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a 2-0, 3-0.
Well, Adams wants to give a free pass to starting inning again. I'm sure Lancaster will take that.
Ball 4 is inside, and we have a leadoff walk to Anthony Peroni. That's the third issued by Adams. I have to keep track of this. Ross Peoples is 5 wins away from 300. So we'll be celebrating that milestone sometime in the near future. The batter is Lair. He will step away for a moment. And a trace. A first pitch strike. What is this?
So if they go on continue on with a winning streak, they get today and so it could possibly be next weekend over in York.
Yeah, that's, I believe, what we're targeting. It would be nice. I mean, you want to have something like that happen at home.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll celebrate it when we come back. We've got Lexington coming in after that series. Here's a 1-1. Ball 2 is high and inside to trace the walking man Lair. Peroni already aboard here in the Barnstormers half of the 4th inning. And then after that series against Lexington, the home schedule against the Southern Division is done. Can you believe that? It'll be July and we will not host another Southern Division team. We've got York in once more, and I believe Southern Maryland, Staten Island, and Long Island in twice each. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Lair. Ball 3 inside and low. Full count. What a run he has been on. 13 of the last 14 plate appearances, he has reached base. Six hits and 7 walks. Adams with the payoff, and he's walked again. First and second with nobody out here in the lower half of the 4th inning. Devon Torrance coming in. He's walked 5 times in the last 24 hours and 6 times in this series. Out to have a word with Adams is the catcher Jovan Gonzalez. This one should count as a timeout. And Freddie DeJesus signals as such.
I found it humorous what your conversation with Trace after the game last night.
This was priceless. I was congratulating him on his franchise record 5 walks. He said, I want a bobblehead now. Think about look up, look down, look up, look down. Nothing, just look straight out. I love the concept. Here is Devon Torrance. He will take a strike out of the left hand of Derek Adams. It's 0-1. Dunston looks like he's going to come up with runners on again. Oh and 1, the count to Devon Torrance. Adams glances back. Devon takes low.
And you'd really like to see him put another big inning together because, as you had mentioned, they have struggled against left-handed pitching this year. And if they can put together another inning where they can put up a crooked number, I think this would do wonders as far as the confidence in this second half of the season when they do face a lefty.
And They will be seeing more. Torrance with a fly ball toward the right field corner. Seymour giving chase. He's going to set up in foul territory and make the catch. And that does not advance a runner. I think just about anybody other than Peroni tags and goes.
Tell you that was a nice play by Seymour, because as you know, when you're running toward that wall, you've got the pitcher's mound in the bullpen to worry about. Not only did he make the catch, he had firm footing and got off a pretty strong throw as well.
Well, we've already seen his arm. It's pretty good. And that was actually a fair ball.
Yeah, it was.
Cut down Cordero last time up, and he has a very nice arm. Here's Dunston first and second with one gone. Adams to the plate, and Sean will take it low. Ball one and no strikes. Dunston is the Barnstormers' best hitter, by the way, against left-handed pitching, despite the fact he is a lefty himself and a lefty all the way. He's hit .359 at the moment against the Southpaws. Ball two is low to him, 2-0.
Wow.
But overall, he's getting himself in a position now, nowhere near enough plate appearances yet, but he could challenge for the batting title here. And what an honor that would be. It's still a ways for him to go. David Harris of Southern Maryland has been hitting in the 350s, and he's been doing that while not entirely healthy. He's had some hip problems, as I understand. Ball three is high, 3-0. Mercedes waiting on deck. And starting the day, Harris had gone down to 344. Dugan still is third. Cordero is fifth. Dunston just doesn't have enough plate appearances, but once he does, he could jump in there. 3-0 pitch. He'll lean out of the way. There's the third walk of this inning.
What's the minimum plate appearances needed?
2.7 plate appearances per game. So you're looking at the Barnstormers have played 77 games. So right now it would be around 208 total plate appearances. Yeah. So obviously he's got a ways to go. It will be late August, I think, or mid to late August before he could jump on the leaderboards. Melvin Mercedes is batting with the bases loaded and one out. Lancaster already leading by 3. Mercedes with an RBI base hit his last time up. He will swing, ground it to third. There is the out at second. Throw back to first will not be in time, and a run scores. Mercedes safe on the fielder's choice. Dunston is forced 5-4. Peroni comes home. No base hit for Mercedes this time, but he does pick up his second ribby of the day. And Andretti Cordero will bat with runners at first and third and 2 outs.
Well, the ball not really hard hit, plus I think with the fact that Lair running to third tried to throw a screen in front of Bertram. And Mercedes runs the bases very well at the same time.
And they've got him now in a rundown. Look out, because they are going to sneak a run home. That run counts. They may tag Mercedes out eventually, which they do, but Lair has scored the second run of the inning. It's a tag play, not a force, and the Barnstormers sneak one in on the Charleston Dirty Birds. Cordero will lead off the next inning. Mercedes got caught off, stayed in the rundown. Lair had already scored by this time, and Melvin is tagged out. But the Barnstormers pick up their second run of the inning. They do it without a base hit or an error. And as it turns out, nobody's left on. They turn 3 walks into a couple of runs, and it's 6-1. The Barnstormers have opened up a 6-1 lead now over the Charleston Dirty Birds. We go to the 5th inning. Eric Manoah on the hill for Lancaster. And now what the Barnstormers need to do for the rest of the day is avoid the big inning. Last night they were up 8-1 at the end of 5, and before you knew it, it was 8-7. And that is one thing that has kind of plagued the Barnstormers over the years. But Eric and I have been discussing this, what you really like about the Barnstormers now. This is a team that could have collapsed, and it would have been understandable, losing first Clark and then Shaver and then Dugan, the three big guns in the middle of the order. There's the fourth one, Andretti Cordero, who's still, of course, a big part of this club. But instead of collapsing, this team looked upon it as a challenge, everybody else picking up the slack. Manoah delivers a strike to Tyler Blum, who walked his first time up. 0-1 on Blum. Catcher and first baseman for this Charleston ball club. Breaking ball, a check swing. He did not go, so Silvio Martinez, the pitcher, I guess, slightly up. 1 ball and 1 strike. Manoah kicks, fires. Good swing by Blum, but he fouled it right back into the net. 1-2, you get a look at Eric Manoah. I think I talked about this the other night, how much fun it was just to be with him for about an inning, watching Toronto and Seattle with his brother on the mound.
Oh.
Televised game the other night. He is extremely proud of his little brother, you can tell. The ace of the Blue Jays. And Eric's no slouch himself. 1-2. Slider off the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Toronto's a team I thought was going to make some noise, but who would have thought the Yankees would be doing what they're doing? Holy smokes.
Toronto with the greatest built-in home field advantage of all time.
Whoa!
That one slipped. And now we go to 3-2. About, I don't know what percentage it is, 10%, 20% of Major League Baseball can't go to Toronto to play because they're not vaccinated.
They were Kansas City, I think, 10 players.
Here's a payoff. Ball 4 is high and inside. Blum walks for the second time today, and it's a leadoff runner in the 5th inning for Charleston, with Jovan Gonzalez stepping in. Gonzalez singled to the base of the right field wall back in the 2nd. And I'm certainly not going to touch the political hot potato that is vaccines. We're just talking about it matter-of-factly here. Some people choose to, and most people choose to, but some choose not to. Gonzalez, the batter. Infield sets at double play depth. Manoah into his line, and he is up for a ball, 1-0. And I'm starting to wonder, with all the walks we have seen this weekend, today we have 7 walks, 2 strikeouts in this game, 37 walks, 24 strikeouts in the series. Like, what's going on?
Good question.
Strike taken there, and Gonzalez bats at 1-1. And generally when you see those numbers, you think, man, the umpire's calling a tight zone.
No.
But I don't think they have been.
No.
And, you know, you've seen just today, I've watched this entire series, and it definitely has not struck me that way.
Now, you ask the guys from High Point, that might be a different story.
They didn't say it was a tight zone. They just said it was an inconsistent one. And that's worse. Because, as I recall, we haven't seen much of Freddie DeJesus this year, but my mental image of him back before, of course, we used the automated ball strike system is that he was relatively pitcher friendly. 2-1, that's to the inside corner. Gonzalez bats 2-2. I mean, the last thing Manoah wants to do with a 6-1 lead is start walking people here in the 5th inning. But Blum is on. Gonzalez batting, 2 balls and 2 strikes. He loves to hit to right field. is Jovan Gonzalez. Here's a 2-2. Ground ball, second base. There's one. Felice back to first. There's two. 4-6-3, and that erases the leadoff walk. The ultimate baseball panacea right there is the double play ground ball, and this one couldn't have been much easier. I thought the only issue might have been the base umpire. At 2 outs, nobody on, and Scott Burcham, the third baseman, will step in.
You know, just to get back to the umpires, I like the guys that have a pitcher-friendly zone too. I'm not saying expanded strike zone, but hey, people come here to see guys swing the bat. They don't want to see people drawing walks. Don't make it tight. Let the guys get up there and swing away.
You want to have a strike zone that is fair.
Right.
Where you don't want to force guys to swing at pitches they can't reach. Second strike, it's 0-2. And you don't want to force the pitchers to throw the ball into a teacup. The whole idea of that 17-inch wide plate is for the strike zone to be 17 inches wide. 0-2, and Manoah gives him a pitch to handle, and Burcham takes it into center for a 2-out single. Thank goodness for the double play. Now we get to the top of the order, and Nick Heath. That pitch ended up in a spot I don't think Manoah intended it to be.
Yeah, it just came in a little flat over the heart of the plate, and Burcham just stayed right on it. Drops it into center field. And yeah, like you said, thank goodness for that double play. Otherwise, we're looking at first and second.
2 outs with Burcham aboard. I would not think he's running here. Manoah, high set position. Gets the pitch past Heath. It's 0-1. We haven't seen a lot of fastballs out of Eric here in this 5th inning. At least not for a while. He throws about 90. And a Heath, high fly ball left side. Easily gauged by Devon Torrance. Comes right to him. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and Burcham left at first. We're halfway through regulation today, 4.5 in the books, and the Barnstormers are up 6-1. It is the chicken toss that we have here. You got to get the chicken in the bucket.
They're all around it.
There's
Hey,
one
there we
off
go.
and that and in. And that's not easy. You don't exactly have the most aerodynamically sound object that you're trying to aim.
It's all in the release.
Baseballs theoretically are a little bit easier to aim, but they haven't been for the pitchers necessarily in this series. Last night was understandable. They were trying to get wet baseballs over. The Barnstormers ultimately drew 11 walks in 6 innings last night. And it was 3 walks by the starter Wyman in 2 innings. Courtney Mack walked 4 in 3 innings, and then Nate Rowe walked 4 in the 14-batter, 8-run 6th. Andretti Cordero, the batter, is 1 out of 2 with a couple of runs driven in. He swings away here, and this ball is hit pretty well toward left center field. Kelly over, Kelly dives, and Kelly catches.
Wow.
What a play for Scotty Kelly. Oh, my. I thought he was beaten by that. I thought Cordero had 2, maybe 3 bases. Put a star by that one in the scorebook. Look at this.
And the thing is, there's Kelly, and Nick Heath doesn't even offer a hand to help him up. Come on, man. Your left fielder just made a great catch.
Kelly will savor that moment.
I saw a collision, and I thought, oh, please no.
Here is Robinson, who's been quiet through all this today. A ball outside and low, 1-0. That's because he's taking me on the lanes tonight, and he's already thinking about it.
You can tell him that.
Here's a 1-0. There's lined out the left field. Kelly will have to take this one on a bounce. And Robinson is aboard to start something here in the 5th inning. The Barnstormers' 6th hit. They've all been singles. Anderson Felice will come to the plate. Robinson took this team on his shoulders for about a week, and now other guys are helping him to shoulder the load. Lair, Peroni, Torrance, Tyler Hill coming in. And of course, the top of the order, Dunston and Mercedes. The Felice and his pink bat strike at his 0-1.
Well, what's nice this afternoon, and I'm sure you could look back over the past couple of nights, is that Lancaster has made Charleston pay for those base on balls. 3 guys that reached base on balls today have come home to score.
Felice, a sky-high fly ball toward left center field. Kelly says, Nick Heath, this one's yours. He takes it, 2 outs, and Tyler Hill stepping in. Anderson got underneath that a little too much. He's built like Jerry Owens, if you remember the Barnstormers center fielder from years gone by. He's got like a pencil-thin waist. I think Jerry had a 28-inch waist.
Oh, jeez.
He was going to go to UCLA as a wide receiver, and in fact, I believe started there and then switched his allegiances to baseball and made a career out of it. Last I knew, Jerry was, I think, working for an organization, maybe the Indians, or now Guardians, pardon me, in their Dominican complex. I think that's where Jerry was the last I knew. Wonderful man. Ooh. Second strike. It's 0-2 to Hill as Adams tries to rebound. He's at least working to preserve the DH, which is Alfredo Gonzalez. Robinson leads off first. 0-2 on Hill. He will not chase. Ball 1, 2 strikes. 6-1 Lancaster, as you see. 4 in the 3rd and 2 in the 4th for the Barnstormers. The 3rd inning was built on walks. The 3rd was built on singles. The 4th on walks. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Hill will swing and miss at that. Adams strikes out his 2nd. The Barnstormers pick up 1 hit. And a wonderful play by Scott Kelly to start the inning. We'll go to the 6th inning. Lancaster up by 5. Sunday afternoon baseball at Clipper Magazine Stadium, and another decent turnout here on a Sunday for one of our matinees. A lot for everybody to enjoy. We get some of the guys from the bullpen every Sunday signing autographs before the game. Today, Tyler Sullentrop, Tyler Laporte, who hasn't pitched in a couple of months, was out there. Brett Clark was out there. Dominic DeSabatino was out there, greeting the fans, signing the autographs. Kids get to play, their families get to play catch on the field before the game. Kids get to run the bases after the game. And there's always a pretty good baseball.
Yeah, that's a treat for the kids. I remember bringing my boys down and throwing out in the outfield and then sticking around, letting them run the bases. So many kids want to slide into home plate. No sliding.
We're going to Grandma's afterwards. We don't need you, filthy. Not taking you home and bathing you.
They don't realize just how far it is home to. Well, I guess they started first.
They started
base.
first.
Yeah. But by the time they reach third base, they're a little winded.
Here is Jose Rosario. He is 0 for 2 on ground balls today. Manoah into his motion, high and inside for ball one. It's 1-0. Ross Peoples hoping to get, I think, Manoah through this 6th inning and maybe not beyond that. 1-0 pitch, cut on, foul tipped. Healthy rip by Rosario against the high fastball. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The pitch count for Eric Manoah is 82. Adams at 89. 1-1 pitch, check swing and a foul. It's 1-2.
And really, he hasn't been in any trouble. The only time that Charleston really threatened was that 2nd inning when they had 1st and 3rd with 2 outs.
The only run coming on the homer by Alfredo Gonzalez. He's on deck. He knows all about that trip around the bases, but he hasn't had to make it too quickly. He runs pretty well, too. He's got a bunch of steals. Here's a 1-2. Fastball rides in high. Rosario wouldn't bite for it again, so we're at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, you want to make sure you get Rosario out. You don't want him on base with Gonzalez coming up based on what he's done this weekend.
2-2 pitch. This is hit in the air, right center field. Dunston and Robinson converge. Dunston will take it. It's out number 1. Manoah has very much relied on his defense today. A lot of outs in the air for Eric Manoah today, and some ground balls too. Now here is Alfredo Gonzalez. Well, what a series this fellow has had. What a series that fellow has had.
Yeah.
Boy, you want to talk about, it's hard to say falling in your lap, but picking up Dunston made this team.
Yep.
You just never know. When you sign a guy, you don't know what the attitude's going to be. You don't know if there are those nagging background injuries or personal life issues, or the guy's contemplating retirement, or what's going on. But this has been a breath of fresh air for Dunston coming here, and he's been a breath of fresh air for this ball club. It's just been a perfect match. Now Manoah says, "Don't get too comfortable, Alfredo." Ball 1 and no strikes, and Alfredo glares.
So who was leading off for Lancaster before Dunston came in?
You had Boyd when he was here.
Yeah.
Mercedes had been at one point. You go back to opening night, it was Mercedes. Good looking slider for a strike, and it's 1-1 on Gonzalez. Boyd led off when he was here.
Well, he was already gone by the time we picked up TV coverage.
That guy can hit in his sleep. Fouled away, 1-2. I mean, BJ, boy, you want to talk about somebody who just knows how to hit a baseball. is remarkable. And then Ross, in the interim, put Ladarius Clark into the top spot. Back to Mercedes a little bit before Dunston came in. Clark has the speed to be a leadoff hitter, but not necessarily the on-base percentage. Although I'm sure he can alter his approach. I like Mercedes batting 2. I think that's the perfect spot for Melvin.
Yeah.
1-2, ground ball off the leg of Manoah, and it stayed right there. He throws to first. Gonzalez is gone, 2 outs.
Great footwork there by Manoah. Oh, went off his foot.
Kick save and a beauty.
Yeah. Let's see it. It was right off the left foot.
The amazing thing is that it stayed right there and didn't deflect somewhere around the infield where nobody could retrieve it. 2 outs for Manoah here in the 6th. And he'll face Diego Gores, the shortstop, who's 0 for 2. Well, it's looking more and more like Manoah is going to get a quality start out of the afternoon. And if he gets this out pretty quickly, Ross might run him out there for a 7th inning. Upstairs, it is ball 1-1-0. Or Ross may want to give 3 different relievers an inning each with the off day coming up tomorrow.
I was going to say, how many guys were used out of the pen last night?
Here's a 1-0. That breaks low. Ball 2. And the answer to that is 2. But the second one was Chase Johnson, who faced 1 batter before play was halted. Two balls and nothing on the cleanup hitter, Gores. Manoah fires, gets that across. It's 2-1. I mean, Eric has pitched very well with the lead. He's done what you want to do. Throw strikes, let him hit it. You don't need a lot of strikeouts to be effective. 2-1 is on the way. That's a bit upstairs, ball 3.
It would just be nice to, give him the reward for a quality outing by giving him a W.
And no decisions in his first 4 starts. 3 balls, 1 strike to Gores. And Eric comes back. This ball is hit well to right field. Backing up on it is the right fielder, and he makes the catch. Trayvon Robinson coming down with that one. 1-2-3 inning, and Robinson charging through the bullpen, slapping gloves, and we'll go to the bottom of the 6th, 6-1. Is that ice cream? I don't know. It's 6-1 going into the bottom of the 6th inning. The Barnstormers haven't exactly unleashed a savage offensive attack here this afternoon. But they have put 6 runs on the board. The 6 hits are all singles. But the starter, Derek Adams, walked 5, And that was a big part of his undoing here today. 6 runs all earned. Adams out after 5 innings. And Nate Peden, who was the winning pitcher here on Friday night through 2 scoreless, takes over as we go to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Peden, a right-hander from Orlando, slender 6'4". And one of the younger performers in this league at just 23 years of age. We saw Kyle Mott the other night, who was 22. Youngest and blondest, I believe, player in the Atlantic League.
Looked another day over 17.
Anthony Peroni has flied out and walked so far today. He started off the 2-run 4th with a 4-pitch walk, and he gets a pitch served upstairs here. Ball 1 and no strikes. On Friday night, Peden worked 2 innings. The 6th and the 7th, he gave up 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 3. And 1-0. Look out, Anthony. Ball 2 and no strikes. Full swing and a foul tip there. 2-1 the count on Peroni, who is now the #1 catcher. You get a look at the stash that he has. Everybody is growing one now. Chase Johnson shaved his beard off, left just the stash. Jake Hoover, I know, has one going. A lot of the fellows in the front office do, and it's become such a part of the culture here that the other day the ladies in the front office put on fake mustaches and took a group photo. And in about 3 weeks, mine will be visible.
Freddie DeJesus having to walk that one off. We've already seen one umpire go down with a injury.
We've actually had it happen more than once here.
Uh-oh.
Joe Del Balso took a shot off the mask, had to come out, and was back a couple of days later. And then we saw Marty Hassenfuss, I think, break his arm on a shot straight back off the bat of Colton Shaver. 2 balls, 2 strikes, still on Peroni. Trace Lair is on deck.
So is this a contest then?
It's not a contest. It's just becoming one of those bonding things. Fastball is strike 3 on the outside corner. Peroni goes down looking. And Lair will step in. Trace has scored twice today, a single and a walk. Bottom of the 6th inning, you get a look at action in the Barnstormers bullpen. That is Tyler Sullentrop warming up, and he's got the stash working too. He had facial hair, shaved it off, and looked 17. Everybody was making fun of him. He's 25. 1-0. And Delaire, it's ball 2. I wonder if Trace is getting bored. Now, he's still pretty well locked in. 3-2. He singled back in the 3rd inning, scored there, drew a walk in the 4th inning. Here's a 2-0 to him, a strike on the outside corner. Trace probably turned around and said, "Thank you. Maybe I'll get a chance to swing."
He's seen more strikes today.
That certainly last night.
Yeah.
2-1 pitch, crowds him inside, 3-1.
Man, it looks like Peden is just coming with fastballs. And that's it.
Trace has reached base 8 times in a row. 3-1. He gets another one.
Wow.
I can't recall anybody in a Barnstormers uniform being on a stretch like that with this many walks. It's crazy. 7 walks in his last. Let's go back to the previous night. 8 walks in his last 9 plate appearances with 1 single.
So he's been on base 9 consecutive times.
9 consecutive times, and 15 out of 16. Here's Torrance to face Peden. The pitch to Devon is in for a strike. Torrance today has walked and flied out to right.
I can't recall anybody being on base 9 consecutive times.
It's nuts. 8 walks.
All of a sudden, he's become the guys they don't want to pitch to.
He'll take off. Breaking ball is inside and low, and Jovan Gonzalez has to say, oh, to heck with it. Stolen base number 2 today for Lair. He's also 9 for 9 stealing bases.
Well, he picked the right pitch to steal on, too. That breaking ball took a little time to get in there and a little difficult to handle for Gonzalez, and Lair was in easily.
1-1. Torrance will look at a fastball high for ball 2. And Dunstan's in the on-deck circle going, well, another RBI opportunity. It's like the lineup's out of sync. It's almost like Lair's the leadoff hitter and Torrance is batting second and Dunstan's batting third. It's just the way it's been set up last night and today. 2-1 to Torrance. Sails outside, make it 3-1.
Just get these guys on base. It doesn't matter how.
Barnstormers have drawn 6 walks today after picking up 11 last night. Here's a 3-1, and it's another walk to Torrance. First and second with Dunston stepping in. That's the 7th walk picked up by Torrance in this series to go along with the 8 to Lair. And if Billy Horn was not prone to upset stomachs before this weekend, he is now. You feel badly for a manager in that situation. His club's gone through just a lot of turmoil this year. To Dunston, swing and a ball driven out to right field. Back this one goes, and a foul ball. So close to his first home run.
He jumped all over it just a split second too far out in front.
And believe me, he wants one.
Well, when it left the bat, I thought that thing's off the wall. I didn't know if it had enough lift. But boy, just another RBI opportunity yet again.
Well, today he's only batted with 6 runners on. Ground ball second. They may turn 2 here. Out at second, and the throw back to first. The throw pulled Blom just a hair off the bag. And safe on the fielder's choice is Dunston. The out 4-6 on Torrance at second. Obviously, they had to hurry with all the speed involved by the Barnstormers. And Blum's foot just came off the bag. Martinez right on it. Nobody's arguing.
No. He was looking right down the line, and
Blum
he saw
was
that
fully
gap.
He had to because of Dunston running. Anybody else, he doesn't stretch out that far, and the foot came just off the base. Now here is Mercedes taking a strike. It's 0-1. Melvin 1 out of 3 with a couple of runs batted in today. 15-game hitting streak for Mel. Beaton's got him 0-2. Cordero on deck. Andretti robbed by Scott Kelly back in the 5th inning.
What's the team record for consecutive hits? Games?
20. And it's been done twice. LeCroy and Gindel. There goes Dunston. The pitch fouled away. No let up in the Barnstormers running game today. They have stolen 4 and been caught once, but on purpose. And headlining that running game has been the man over at third base, Trace Lair. He looks like he's had some fun today, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got the uniform to prove it.
Dunston takes off again. The pitch is high. They'll throw behind Lair at third, and he's back in. tying the season high. 5 stolen bases for the Barnstormers. That's the second for Dunston today. He's got 21. He's only been here since June 9th.
Jeez.
Mercedes still trailing in the count, though, at a ball and 2 strikes. And he requests time. I mean, look at how dirty Trey Slayer's uniform is, top to bottom.
Well, that dirt's turning to mud with all the sweat.
1-2. Bouncing up there. Mercedes back to even. Cordero waits on deck.
Yeah, it's what Sean Dunston has done. You mentioned with those 21 stolen bases, and he's only been here a little more than a month. The hits, the defense, the speed.
Here's a 2-2 to Melvin. He spoils that and gets to stick around, giving Sullentrop a little bit extra time to warm up in the bullpen. Not that the right-hander needs it. So I have to think Manoah is coming out, but very strong effort for Eric here on this Sunday afternoon.
They didn't fly through the 6 innings, but he was steady.
Now Mercedes fly ball down the left field side, racing after it. Kelly's got to give up. The ball's on the hill. Still 2-2 on the Lancaster second baseman, and he will certainly stretch at bats out. First base open. Peden doesn't want to use it here in front of Cordero. Melvin's battled him back to 2-2. Right-hander out of the full line delivers and got him with a breaking ball. Down and in. Mercedes fans on that. The Barnstormers go away empty here in the 6th inning. They leave 2, and at the end of 6, still 6-1 Lancaster. Silo's birthday, and enjoying the afternoon with family friends. Muma is here, Silo's mom.
So 15, you said?
18.
18. Now, is that, do they have like an odd birthday like dogs? 1 year is 7 years? Is 1 year with?
1 year's 1 year with Silo. Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'd have to consider having Silo Jr. and putting Silo into retirement. We don't want to do that. We still have the article framed in the men's bathroom in the front office about the introduction of Silo to the public, which actually took place in March of '05, but we've always considered a mid-season birthday because the concept of Silo was from the summer before.
But why is the article in the men's room?
Just to have some art there. It makes for very happy reading. Here's Anthony Seymour to step in against Tyler Sullentrop. We get into the 7th inning. Fastball high and outside, ball 1. Staten Island's beating York again. 3-1 in the top half of the 4th. What has gotten into the Ferry Hawks? They won 18 games in the first half, and they've matched the Barnstormers' start here in the second half. Sullentrop, the Seymour, it's ball 2. Here is something, and I talked with Mark Johnson about this last night, and I think this is something this club needs to correct. For whatever reason, the guys coming in out of the bullpen are not locked in. They just about every time you see somebody come in, it's ball 1, ball 2. Now a strike, and it's 2-1. But the on-base percentage, I tabulated this last night. The on-base percentage for the first batter faced by a guy out of the bullpen is .388. And that is way too high.
Yes, it is.
And it's arguably higher with runners already on base. I don't have that separated. And the arms are too good out there. 2 balls, 1 strike. Sullentrop will deliver. It's chopped foul, and Tyler able to bring it back to 2 balls and 2 strikes. This guy has been a great pickup for the Barnstormers this year, and Ross certainly relies on Tyler quite a bit in middle inning situations. His 32nd appearance of the year. It ties Chase Johnson for the team lead. 2-2, little slicing fly ball the other way, just eluding Lair. And a leadoff base hit for Seymour. So again, even though it wasn't exactly a great swing, well, it was an artistic swing, I suppose. Lair, so close to getting it. Leadoff man is on, and Scott Kelly is due, and he will be coming to the plate. You know, if he didn't have the weight from all that dirt, he might have caught it.
Would have been a snow cone catch, which would have been ideal for this warm afternoon.
The leadoff man is on here in the 7th inning. Sullentrop 2-2 with a 2.51 ERA. He's walked 23, struck out 42 in 32 and a third innings. Seymour, the leadoff man, is on here in the 7th inning. You're looking for the Barnstormers maybe to come out and shut this down pretty quickly. Kelly is a tough out. First pitch is low to him, ball 1. Scott Kelly twice today has flied to center.
Now, I think I know the answer to this, but I noticed that the standings are just for the regular season. They don't have the first and second half. Is that because of that one game?
It's because of that staggered game between Lancaster and York. The printout standings are off. They have the Barnstormers at 9-1 and not 9-2 coming into today, and I'm just not going to print it out when it's inaccurate. They can't.
Even the computer can't figure it out.
They can't figure out how to program the computer to separate that game. Runner goes, and this is lined toward right center field in trouble. It is in for a base hit. Runners will be at first and third. In fact, they're sending Seymour, and the throw to the plate is high and not close. That will end up being maybe even an RBI single for Kelly. He goes to second on the throw, but now it's 6-2, and now you've got to be a little concerned about the game. It dropped in, and then it sort of slowed down out there. Dunston, the relay throw was high, and Sullentrop had to retrieve that from the back of the screen. I don't think there's an error on that play, but now you've got a runner at second base. Seymour is home. It's suddenly 6-2. Tyler Blum coming to the plate. And this is the inning that has been problematic for the Barnstormers the entire season. Swing and a miss. 0-1, the count on Blum.
I tell you what, there was no hesitation whatsoever from Seymour.
He was moving.
He came around second. He had his eyes set on going the whole way. Even a good throw, he would have been in safely.
Breaking ball misses. It's 1-1. Barnstormers, well, in the 6th and 7th innings combined, have been outscored 106-91. It's very often in the transition. So it is just a single for Kelly. He'll get the RBI as Anthony Seymour pulls an Enos Slaughter. 2-1 now on Blum, with Yovan Gonzalez scheduled to bat next. Kelly found the perfect spot to drop that ball in. It just sandwiched right in between Dunston and Robinson, and then the ball hit and died. Ball 3 now, 3-1.
You know, and Sullentrop coming into the game this afternoon, he'd only given up 5 earned runs in his last 23 innings. But running into problems here in the 7th.
You can't give up a big number here. 3 balls, 1 strike to Blum. Sullentrop will work out of the stretch and miss. That adds another base runner. Yovan Gonzalez will step in, and the tying run is now in the on-deck circle. Mark Johnson will pay a mound visit, and already he's signaled for somebody else to get warmed up in the bullpen.
Yep.
It will be Josh Graham beginning to throw. Well, you didn't necessarily see this coming. Seymour and Kelly found perfect spots. Laird just missing the 1, the other dropping into the alley, and now the 5-pitch walk to Blum, and all of a sudden you've got the potential for a really big inning for the Charleston Dirty Birds against a bullpen that, to me, simply shouldn't give them up. And last night, Cameron Gann left with the bases loaded and 1 out. It was still 8-1, and the next thing you knew, it was 8-7.
Ooh.
You know, the Barnstormers obviously pulled away in the bottom of that inning.
But when you've got a lead like that, that's when you've got to hold on to.
Yeah, these transition innings, you know, you give up 1 maybe, but these big innings, when you're switching from the starter to the bullpen, Ross at times this year has left the starter in, and the starter's given up that big inning. Fastball for a strike, which always seems to happen after Mark Johnson comes out to the mound.
Double play would do wonders here. He got Gonzalez last time.
Hit into 1 last time. Manoah gave up 3 hits and a run in 6 innings with 2 walks and 1 strikeout. No balls, 1 strike. Sullentrop to Gonzalez, swing and a miss at the breaking ball. It's 0-2.
Yeah, Manoah definitely pitched well enough to earn himself a win here this afternoon.
Two strikes to Gonzalez, and he got him. Swing and a miss at pure heat. Sullentrop bounces back, gets the strikeout, 1 away. Scott Burcham will step in. Burcham 1 out of 2.
What is it about Mark Johnson? Every time he goes out and says something to a pitcher, the pitcher comes back to the next batter and absolutely blows him away.
We don't have the velocities available for today.
Uh-oh.
We have some kind of technical malfunction. It's 98 on the stadium board, so you know it was somewhere in that neighborhood. Here's Burcham, 1 for 2 on the day. Sullentrop starts him off with a breaking ball and misses. It's 1-0. Nick Heath waits on deck. Kelly at second, Blum at first with 1 gone here in the 7th inning. You still have the tying run in the on-deck circle. Fastball is there, and the count levels at a ball and a strike.
Well, I know sometimes when I'll check the board and you check the computer, generally between the two, the scoreboard is about a half a mile an hour faster than what you have. So figure that last one coming in at about 93.5 miles an hour.
1-1 to Burcham. Foul ball back. Sullentrop has him set up now at 1-2. Sullentrop has certainly hit the upper 97s this year. And we've seen Goodson hit 98. We've seen Tunnel hit 98. We've seen Johnson hit 98. Wasker Brazaban's the only one I can remember, and this wasn't on the TrackMan readings. This was actually on the scoreboard out there, hit 100 back in 2018. Wasker's in AAA with the Marlins now. 1-2 pitch. Burcham reaches out and spoils it down the right field line. And we're happy for Brazi. Came back to this league last year with High Point. Coming out of the pandemic, the Barnstormers did not wish to issue visas last year. They didn't have any visa players here in 2021. So High Point actually still owes the Barnstormers for Michael Martinez and Wasker Brazaban, theoretically. Here's a 1-2, outside and low with the fastball. It's 2-2 on Burcham. And if High Point doesn't start winning some games, they're 0-10. The Barnstormers, in fact, are now a game and a half out of the wild card, which you didn't even see as a possibility coming into the second half.
Yeah.
So with Gastonia running away with the South early, that's going to open up a wild card, and the Barnstormers, in theory, even if Staten Island were to win the second half, could slip in and get a wild card spot now. I didn't even think of that as a possibility before this half started. But let's just take it ourselves. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The count on Burcham. Sullentrop to the plate, and that's chopped foul past third. Still 2-2.
Is that Seymour? I think it is. Yes, it is.
The Bahamian. Still 2-2 on Burcham. Smashed, and that is a fair ball inside the first base bag. Here comes 1 run. Kelly scores. Blum is following. He is going to come across as well on a 2-run double by Burcham. It's 6-4, and Nick Heath will come to the plate as the tying run. Charleston just fights and fights these at-bats. They don't strike out like everybody else has against this pitching staff. And they have fought the Barnstormers. They've come back again against the bullpen, and Ross Peoples is going to switch to Graham.
Just a beautifully placed ball down that right field line. And again, once it goes into that corner and ricochets around, easy for Blum to come around and score.
And I think the Barnstormers have almost gotten into this habit against Charleston. They're working them away, and Charleston has been getting a lot of big hits this series to the right side. And we'll see what Graham can do. He'll face the left-handing Nick Heath. When play returns, Sullentrop is only able to pick up 1 out. The tying run will step in a moment. 3 hits this inning for the Dirty Birds. They have all gone to the opposite field. And now Josh Graham will take over. But the first man he faces, the man he gave up a home run to in the 8th inning here on Thursday night, Nick Heath. Heath 0 for 3 against the starter Manoah today. It's the only home run that Graham has allowed all season. Tying run stands in, still just 1 out here in the 7th inning. Graham to the plate, and Heath will take an off-speed pitch for a strike at his 0-1.
Well, plain and simple. Graham needs to stop the bleeding right here. No more runs.
Heath batting with Rosario on deck. Burcham leads off second. The pitch is popped up, shallow left center field. Felice will go back to take it. That is out number 2. So Graham comes in and picks up at least the second out here to quiet things for the moment. The batter will be the second baseman Rosario, who's 0 for 3.
And a guy you got to get out here. You do not want Gonzalez coming to bat with 2 guys on base. Plain and simple.
Graham, who can throw hard, but he's got a terrific couple of off-speed pitches. Gets that all-important second out here in the 7th inning. Rosario batting. Lancaster still up by 2, but it's gotten awfully precarious here in this 7th inning. Graham to the plate and a strike to the inside corner. It's 0-1. Four-year Mississippi Brave, Josh Graham, is saying today he's a fan of East Coast sports teams, having grown up in Oregon. Most people out there, Trailblazers, Seahawks, Mariners. No, not him. Grew up rooting for the Yankees and the Steelers. Inside for a ball, 1-1. I'm not a fan of either choice.
That's 2 of us.
Josh and I will have that discussion later.
Who was your baseball team growing up as a kid?
Baltimore.
Okay.
Ball 2 is low. Being from Rochester, New York, we were the Orioles AAA team. I got to watch the Orioles way. They had managers in there. Billy DeMars. Cal Ripken Sr. was the manager in Rochester for a while. Then Joe Altobelli came in. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Rosario tries to bunt his way on, but fouls it off. 2-2.
Not a bad idea.
The way Gonzalez has been swinging the bat, not a bad idea at all.
Because Trace Lair was deep at third base, and if he keeps that thing fair, that's easily a bunt single.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner at second. The lead has been sliced to 6-4 here in the 7th inning. This bullpen for a while had been tremendous. 2 earned runs in a span of 24 innings, and that was on what turned out to be a fairly meaningless 9th inning homer. But it's had trouble this series. 2-2 on Rosario. Chases it out of the box, and now the count is full. 3-2. Only 2 strikeouts for Lancaster pitching all day. Goris went down against Manoah in the 4th. Gonzalez against Sulentrop. That's Jovan Gonzalez this inning. 3-2. This is a big pitch. Rosario will pop it up down the left field line, and that will get to the hill. So the battle continues at 3 balls and 2 strikes here.
Once again, like you have said all day long, this team just keeps fighting off pitches to stay alive.
They've been incredibly good at it, and this Barnstormer staff, especially this bullpen, hasn't been used to it. They rack up so many strikeouts. Rosario continues to bat at 3-2. Graham's pitch, and that's fouled off, not to mention taking a chunk out of Peroni. We continue, 3 balls and 2 strikes. when it comes to teams striking out, the Barnstormers lead the league as a pitching staff. But you look at the Charleston Dirty Birds, they're toward the low end of striking out as a team. Long Island is the toughest to strike out, and then High Point, and then Charleston. But the Barnstormers haven't had issues striking out either Long Island or High Point, but Charleston this weekend, my goodness, they've been tough. And typically they don't hit well as a team, but now the Dirty Birds have 19 runs in this series. Rosario bats 3-2. Graham with a big pitch. Runner takes off for third. This is lifted out to right, and not an easy play. It's going to fall in for a base hit. Home to score is Burcham on the bloop single to right. And now Alfredo Gonzalez will come to the plate. 4 runs charged to Sullentrop. Can you believe that one? It fell in along the right field line. Mercedes unable to get back to it. Robinson couldn't get over. Jose Rosario at the blue pit. Good recovery to hold him to first. And now Alfredo Gonzalez, who's homered 4 times this weekend, steps in with the tying run at first. 2 outs here in the 7th inning.
Good pitch by Graham. He busted him inside. It's just that Rosario was able to muscle it and drop it into shallow right field for that base hit.
So it is 6-5
Oh my.
in a very uncomfortable inning for the Barnstormers. And so often, not just this year, but these last 3 seasons, it's been the transition between the starter and the bullpen. And that's punched out the center and falling in front of Dunston. That's the 5th hit of the inning. And Diego Goris will step in with the tying run in scoring position and the go-ahead run at first. The crooked numbers.
Wow.
Well, at least it's not a home run. Goris is the 9th man to bat here on the top of the 7th. Now, last night when Charleston did this, the Barnstormers answered with a similar inning and then some.
True.
In the bottom portion. So this is a critical plate appearance here. 2 outs and 2 on.
It looked like Gonzalez might have been fooled a little bit on the pitch, but he just stayed with it and just flipped it out into shallow center for that base hit.
A 4-run top of the 7th for Charleston, just when you thought the Barnstormers might be cruising here today. And now Goris takes a strike as that drifted back to the inside corner. It's 0-1. Goris is 0 for 3 here today. 1 out of 6 in the series. He had a single in the 6-run 6th inning last night. The 0-1. Goris swings and hits a fly ball foul down the left side. But Graham has him set up at 0-2. Now can he finish this one off? I thought he was going to get Rosario and again fought off some 2-strike pitches and then dropped a little dunker down the right field line that made it 6-5. Gonzalez swinging right away, got the single into center. Now it's 0-2, and that is a strikeout to end the inning. Goris fans, for the 2nd time today, Graham finally out of this tough 7th. 4 runs are home on 5 hits with no errors. And a couple of men left on base. We're at the stretch, and suddenly a 1-run game. That was the 4th home run of the series for Charleston slugger Alfredo Gonzalez. It's staked them to a 1-0 lead, but the Barnstormers have been able to fight back. A 4-run 3rd inning built on 5 singles. Barnstormers walked and ran the bases their way to the 4th inning. This is the continuation of that 4-run 3rd. And then Scott Kelly dropping a RBI single into right center field, and Scott Burcham with the big double down the right field line as Charleston narrowed the gap to 1 in the top half of the 7th inning. The Barnstormers with Cordero Robinson and Felice stepping in the bottom of the 7th. You don't need to get all 4 back, but you'd like 1.
Absolutely. Just something to answer. Take that momentum away from Charleston. Wow.
Isaac Sanchez, pitching for his 3rd Atlantic League team this year, steps in. Well, the Barnstormers hit Sanchez pretty well the last time they faced him pitching for York, and they hurt him badly in an appearance for the Genomes, but he stepped in here the other night and threw a scoreless 8th inning. As a matter of fact, a 1-2-3/8. Cordero goes after the first pitch, and he pops it up foul. That will carry out of here. 0-1 on Cordero. Now think about the difference if Dunston ball stays fair back in the 6th inning. It's an entirely different picture. 1-run game. Cordero takes the 0-1 fastball for a strike. It is 0-2.
Or if Lair is able to just make that catch that just eluded him.
Just got over his glove.
It's amazing how just a matter of inches on one play can set a tone.
Into the net. 0-2 still on Cordero. Robinson and Felice will follow. Tyler Hill is in the hole. Isaac Sanchez has certainly made the rounds of the Atlantic League the past couple of seasons. Right-hander from the Bronx, but now living in Chicago. Cordero bats 0-2, takes a ball. That's skipped into Yovan Gonzalez's glove. Ball 1 and 2 strikes here. Lancaster without an extra base hit today, and of their 6 hits, 5 of them came in the 4-run 3rd inning. They've had just a meaningless Trayvon Robinson single otherwise to Cordero, fastball high. Now 2-2. He's hitting 26 out of the last 30, his Cordero. Strike 3 on the outside corner at the knees. Cordero goes down looking and has some lip service for Freddie DeJesus. 1 out. Trayvon Robinson will come to the plate at 1 for 3.
Well, for not having any strikeouts early on in the ball game, Lancaster has now struck out 3 times in the last inning and a third. Well, more than that, inning and 2/3.
Robinson, 1 out of 3. Awaits the pitch from Sanchez. That gets fouled to the net. No balls and a strike. Definitely Charleston has the Barnstormers on the run in this game. We'll see how the 8th and 9th innings play out. We'll get West Tunnel at some point. To Robinson, 0-1. Waves at a breaking ball. Now a second strike. It's 0-2. And it just is like the wind has come out of the Barnstormers' sails right now.
Well, let's see how they can respond.
No balls, 2 strikes. Sanchez inside and low. When he pitched for the Genomes a couple of Fridays ago, Lancaster got 6 runs off of him in the bottom of the 8th to blow a game open. Bottom of the 7th, 1 out, nobody on. A ball and 2 strikes to Trayvon Robinson, with Felice waiting on deck. Time called. Trayvon will step away. Lancaster has scored 26 runs in this series without a long ball. Up and in, 2 balls and 2 strikes. It's hard to fathom in this ballpark.
It is. But they're winning games, and that's something you can't argue with.
2-2 pitch. Robinson backing away, and the count goes to full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 23 walks might have something to do with it. This is a team now that draws a lot of walks, steals a lot of bases, and they've been getting the clutch hits by and large. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Robinson awaits. Here's the payoff, and he'll get yet another walk here today. That's the 8th for the Barnstormers in this one.
That's a nice at bat down in the count 0-2, and did not chase anything. So they've been able to capitalize and make Charleston pay for the base on balls this afternoon. They need to do it one more time.
Robinson aboard. Pitch to Felice is cut on and missed. 0-1. And I'm interested to see if Robinson runs here. He's 3 for 3, stealing bases on the year. The Barnstormers have had nothing but success today, except for Mercedes, and he was kind of thrown out on purpose. There he goes. The pitch is low and mishandled by Jovan Gonzalez. Robinson with the stolen base. Well, that's a season-high 6. 1-1.
Yeah, that ball just popped out of the mid. Gonzalez just unable to get control of it. Not a bad jump by Robinson either.
Felice awaiting the pitch, runner in scoring position, and Anderson has to jump out of the way of ball 2. Tyler Hill, the designated hitter, waiting on deck. 2 chances to get an insurance run home. Right-hander is Sanchez to the set. Here's a 2-1. Sharp ground ball right side. Gloved easily by Rosario. That's the 2nd out of the inning. Hill will have to get the run home. Working with a guy he caught at times last year. Isaac Sanchez.
Yeah, he should know his stuff.
Hill is 0 for 2 with a walk here today. Last Barnstormer hit was Robinson's single in the 5th, the only one the club has had since the 3rd inning. And you've got to think the team could certainly use one here. 2 outs with the runner at 3rd. A ball is low on Hill. It's 1-0. Peroni's on deck.
Yeah, for the longest time, Lancaster struggled getting that 2-out base hit. It has gotten better in recent games, and now they need another one here from Hill.
The 1-0. Ground ball slowly hit. Comes off the mound, making it an even easier play for Gariz. Sanchez is through the 7th inning, and this game, in which it looked like the Barnstormers were going to cruise, is in trouble. We'll get to the 8th inning. Lancaster leading 6-5. Barnstormers need to get through 2 more innings here. Josh Graham will stay on the mound. He'll face Seymour, Kelly, and Blum, the same trio that started the 4-run 7th. Did this not have the feeling of a ball game that was just going to coast to the finish? That's the way it felt. And then all of a sudden, little base hits everywhere, and Charleston finds itself back within 1.
And how many times have you said, it seems like there's one inning where the comes off the rails?
Fortunately, the Barnstormers were able to stay in the lead as Graham put away Goris, but Josh has to get it done in the 8th inning as well. And then Tunnel will pitch the 9th. You get a look at the Dirty Birds. There's Nate Peden there. Again, a nice outing for him here this weekend. He's thrown 4 scoreless and struck out 5. Seymour getting ready to lead off. He got the 7th inning started with the opposite field swing. It was really a great piece of hitting, and it barely cleared Lair's glove. And that ignited the 4-run inning. Lair creeping in to play the bunt. Graham will go to work. There's a full swing and a miss. No balls and a strike on Seymour. He's lined to center and hit a soft liner to Mercedes otherwise. 1 out of 3 on the afternoon. No balls and a strike. Graham to the plate. This is popped up near the mound. Somebody catch it. Somebody catch it. Lair does. That's in a spot where you can see disasters happen. 1 out. Kelly comes in and an RBI single and also scored in the 7th.
I was waiting for you to drop in a please.
It's in a spot where everybody can get to it. You just don't know. I mean, if there's wind swirling, it'll drop in. Fortunately for the Barnstormers, none at that time.
And the guy that ran the furthest made the play. But it is that first out, and that's big.
Kelly digs in, and again, you see Lair creep up from 3rd, Cordero from 1st, and it's a first pitch fastball for a strike, 0-1. Tyler Blum, the first baseman, waits on deck. And the good news is the Barnstormers do not have to face Alfredo Gonzalez again. They would prefer not to.
Yes.
To Kelly, here's the 0-1 into the dirt for a ball. 1-1 the count. Scott Kelly with 9 doubles and a home run on the year, but that right field wall is always in play in a 1-run game. Rosario put a ball up there the other night on a half swing.
Oh, geez.
Or what seemed like a half swing. 1-1 pitch, bouncing free. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, if you're strong enough, you can do that.
Can't believe the Barnstormers have gone this entire series without hitting a home run. They went back-to-back in the 6th inning on Thursday. Robinson with the grand slam, and Felice followed that with a home run. And they haven't hit one since. This is a club now that probably isn't going to hit all that many. To Kelly, here's the 2-1. Nubbed foul at the plate. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
And got a piece of Peroni again.
1 out, top of the 8th, with the Barnstormers trying to cling to a 1-run lead. The facial fescue is new for Kelly. Never known him to have that before. In his dual role as the hitting coach as well as the utility player for this Charleston ball club. Graham is ready to go. 2-2 over his head. Fastball missing pretty badly. And we've seen so much of that on this homestand from both sides. And I don't think it's been at all intentional.
No. No, you could tell by Graham's reaction that one just got away from him, and he quickly turned away because he knows that's not what he intended to do.
You don't want to give up a walk here. Kelly can still run. 3-2. Graham to the plate. And there's a little chip shot toward right center field. It'll stay up long enough for Dunston. 2 outs. Third time that Kelly has flied out to Sean today. Tyler Blum will step to the plate. As often as Dunston loses his hat, the other outfielders know they've got to be his personal valet, as was the case for Robinson there. 2 outs. Blum, walk, walk, walk. He's in the Trace Lair Hall of Fame. Graham goes to work on him. First pitch is a ball just off the outside corner. It's 1-0.
Peroni thought otherwise.
He held it there for a while. That's the "Are you sure" pose. 1-0 on Blum. That's a strike. 1-1. 2 outs, nobody on. Top of the 8th inning. Graham will go back to work, and another slider across to make it 1-2. He's got such a great assortment that he'll keep hitters off balance. Could go to the changeup here. Could give him a fastball maybe up and in before going to the change. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And the pitch, ground ball, third base, backhanded stop. Lair down to a knee. The throw is on line. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Josh Graham in the top of the 8th. Nothing across for Charleston. Lancaster will have the bottom trio coming up in the lower half of the inning, still leading 6-5. Well, the Barnstormers still holding to a 1-run lead. There's somebody the Barnstormers hope to have back in a couple of weeks. The longer-haired fellow there, Tyler Laporte. Just another reliever who brings it about 97 miles an hour.
Was that all?
The Barnstormers, we talked about this for several days now. There's so much pitching here, but 10 available position players that you wonder if Ross might not be in a position, and not necessarily a bad position, because so many teams are starved for pitching at this time of year. Maybe he's in position to make a trade at some point and get another position player or two in here.
It's finding that, though. That's the only problem.
Yeah. I've been looking around this league. It's the only league I really know. And Charleston situation where that deal could be made, the High Point, maybe the Genomes. And we'll see if Ross has something in mind.
Is there a trading deadline in the Atlantic League?
It's September 1.
Okay.
And actually, you can trade after that. They put something into place now, kind of like they have in winter baseball, where you can fill in for an injury And I'll explain that after this pitch. Peroni with a foul tip. It's 0-1. You can fill in for an injury with an equal player from another ball club that's not in the playoffs. Ladarius Clark went to Southern Maryland last year to replace David Harris. That's an equal player.
Okay.
0-1, line drive, diving catch for Blum.
Wow.
Nice play, 1 out.
Well, that took a double away from him.
A dandy over at first base, and that's, I mean, it's to his glove side as a right-handed thrower, but still not an easy play off a right-hander's bat. That brings on Trace Lair. I still can't believe this run he's on. 9 straight plate appearances. He's reached base, 8 of them on walks. Why am I not surprised? It's ball 1. And ball 2.
We call him base on ball Lair.
He grounded out to third in the 6th inning Friday night against Nate Peden. It's the only time in his last 16 plate appearances that he's been retired. And it's 2-0 now. Sanchez to the plate and ball 3. "22 walks in 21 games overall for Trace. 3-0, probably taking. And there he goes again.
You gotta be kidding me.
9th walk picked up by the Barnstormers today. This is surreal. Lair certainly has to feel that way. Devon Torrance the batter, and I would imagine Trace is running again. Lancaster has not been able to shut down, or I should say, Charleston hasn't been able to shut down the Lancaster running game. Already 6 stolen bases. Sanchez to the set. Torrance will swing away and drive a foul into the net. It's 0-1. Dunston waiting on deck.
I was kind of thinking like Scott Burcham, is Torrance going to maybe try and drop down a bunt? But now after swinging at the first pitch, I think that kind of takes it out of the equation.
Here's the 0-1, taken low, a ball and a strike. Lair has 2 stolen bases today. Dunston has 2. Mercedes and Robinson 1 each.
Really would like to see a run here this inning. Just a little bit of breathing room going into that 9th.
Tunnel getting ready. At least I believe that's him down there. Sanchez to the set. Torrance takes low. He hasn't been shy about the walk either. It hasn't been as easy for Devon as it has been for Lair. I mean, Trace Lair has played this entire series. He is 3 for 4 with 9 walks. 2-1, ball 3.
And we got 3 more games of them coming up on Tuesday. Jeez. Let's hope things get cleaned up by then.
Torrance batting 3-1. Blum holding Lair on at first. And there's a pickoff throw. That's the closest something has gotten to the middle of Lair this entire weekend. That's the most accurate throw made.
Belt high.
Lair takes off. The 3-1 is ball 4, and it will give the Barnstormers runners at first and second again. 10 walks today by the Charleston staff. Dunston has 1 RBI. He is 1 out of 3. Last time in this situation, he wrapped into a force out. And we get a mound visit.
Well, now Lancaster really has to make them pay for those base on balls. Make it come back to hurt them. As I mentioned earlier, 3 of the 6 runs were guys that reached base on a walk. Now you got 2 more out there.
You just wonder about the conversation going on out at the mound. I mean, it's getting to the point for the Charleston staff this weekend. It's, you know, there's the 17-inch wide place of varying heights, and you really are allowed to throw the baseball in there. It's you're not going to be arrested if you do.
Center fielder Sean Dunston Jr.
Dunston will step in with Lair at second and Torrance at first. It is ridiculous how many times that the Barnstormers 8 and 9 hitters have walked the last couple of games. 8 for Lair, 7 for Torrance. First and second, and Dunston with yet another RBI chance. 5 last night, just 1 here today. Fastball misses, and it's 1-0. Six to 5, Barnstormers leading, but 2 more runners gifted them on the bases on balls. Mercedes waits on deck. Sanchez to the plate, and Dunston pops this up the shallow left. It's deep enough that infield fly isn't enforced. Kelly with the catch, though. Barnstormers just are not taking advantage of these opportunities over the last few innings. Mercedes will give it a shot here. He struck out his last time up with a couple of runners on. 1 for 4 with 2 runs banded in for Melvin today. Lair still at second, Torrance still at first. Crowd of 2568 here on Sunday afternoon. We're closing in on 5 million. We need about 200,000 total for the year. Barring a few rainouts, we should get there. To Mercedes, strike on the inside corner. On the Sanchez fastball, it is 0-1. The Barnstormers really could use a base hit here. They've had just 1 since the 3rd inning. They had 5 of their 6 for the afternoon there. Into the dirt for a ball, it is 1-1. And if you're going to have only 6 hits and they're all singles in a day, you better group them together.
Yes.
I'm not complaining about that. If you're going to have just 6 hits, have 5 of them in the same inning. Melvin Mercedes batting at a ball and a strike. Lair, Dunston, Mercedes, Cordero, and Felice all had singles in that 3rd inning.
But if the opposing team is giving you free bases with the walks, you got to make them.
Yeah, you'd love to have some more hits.
Absolutely. Just that one key one, and this would be one right here.
A ball and a strike, the count on Mercedes against Sanchez. Combatants from the Bronx. Ball 2 crowds him. It's 2-1. Melvin Mercedes is 30 years of age. Isaac Sanchez is 29. They were both born in 92. Mercedes in January and Sanchez in October. They're 9 months apart. 3-1. You can't assume they grew up together. The Bronx is a place with a lot of folks.
Yeah.
3 balls, 1 strike.
Everybody's packed in.
Cordero waiting on deck. Lancaster up by a run. You've got the chance here in the 8th inning. Sanchez looking back to Lair. 3-1 to Mercedes. He'll take another walk. That's 2 games in a row. The Barnstormers have drawn 11. And now Cordero needs to make them pay. Andretti 1 for 4 with 2 runs batted in today. 67 ribbies on the season for Andretti Cordero. He started the day 4th in the league in runs batted in. Kelly Dugan still with enough to be 3rd. Carlos Franco from York has knocked in 81 though. Bases are loaded, all on walks here in the 8th inning. Cordero trying to break the game open here. Sanchez will deal a breaking ball. That's high, 1-0.
Well, Charleston has had somebody throwing in the bullpen. A submarine left-hander.
Gonzalez, Burcham, and Heath scheduled in the top of the 9th. Here's the pitch. Cordero chops this to the shortstop. Coming in is Goris. A short throw. It pulls Blum off the bag, but in the right direction. And the Barnstormers again unable to produce. Sometimes with all the walks you can get lulled to sleep, and I think that may have happened to the Barnstormers today. So the bullpen needs to take care of this in the top half of the 9th. We get there. Lancaster leading 6-5. One-run game. We go to the top half of the 9th inning. Charleston certainly has not made this easy. The Barnstormers were leading 6-1 after 4 innings today and appeared to be on cruise control. And now Wes Tunnel comes on to try and notch the save. It would be his 5th. Barnstormers haven't gotten too many 1 or 2 run leads, or 3 run leads for that matter, into the bullpen. Those numbers you see are the overall numbers for Tunnel, including 5 appearances in the Mexican League, and those didn't go well as a Barnstormer. He's 1-0 with 4 saves. His ERA is an even 3. Only 13 hits allowed in 24 innings. He's walked 16 and struck out 23. Now, a couple of West's saves have been finished off with Sean Dunston Jr. making a catch at the outfield fence. I'm not sure I'm quite ready for that type of drama this afternoon. Yovan Gonzalez will get the 9th inning underway. As you get a look at Dunston, he's ready.
It all starts with this one.
6 putouts for Sean out there today. Gonzalez singled in the 2nd inning. He's grounded into a double play, and he is struck out. Josh Graham works an inning and 2/3. He gives up 2 hits, strikes out 1. Tunnel goes to work on Gonzalez, breaking ball to start him off. A called strike. It is 0-1. Tunnel has been known to hit 98 miles an hour. To Gonzalez, 0-1. Fastball barely made it to the dirt circle. So we have a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. 4th pitcher used by Ross Peoples here today. Manoah, a terrific start. A hiccup for Sullendrop. And then Graham gave up a couple of base hits. The first one anything but solid. He gets the hold. And now Tunnel 1-1 with the breaking ball. This is fouled out of play. Make it a ball and 2 strikes.
Again, with everything tight here in the second half of the season, you get a game like this, you got to put this one away. I mean, you get a 6-1 lead. You've got to seal the deal.
Gonzalez awaiting the 1-2. Tunnel ready to go. The fastball just met and fouled. And how often have we seen it this weekend? Charleston continuing to fend off good 2-strike pitches. And to some extent, I think it's frustrated the Barnstormers staff, which is used to chalking up all the strikeouts.
Yeah. Yep.
Only 3 this afternoon. 1-2 to Gonzalez. There's another one. 1 out here in the ninth. Gonzalez went up out of the zone. Scott Burcham, the third baseman, will come to the plate.
You know, so many times you think maybe that's the spot for a changeup, but Tunnel decides to go upstairs in the strike zone and let her rip, and Gonzalez unable to catch up with it.
Burcham with a big 2-run double back in the 7th inning. A smash just fair inside the first base bag. He is 2 out of 3 in the ball game this afternoon. Tunnel goes to work on him. The fastball upstairs and ball 1. 2 outs left to get for the Barnstormers bullpen should we have to go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Robinson, Felice, and Hill, the scheduled hitters for Lancaster. 1-0. Tunnel is outside and low. 2 balls and no strikes with the lefty batting Heath waiting on deck. Well, and then Rosario and then him.
Yeah. For the sake of nerves and your blood pressure, let's hope it doesn't get to that point.
As the Barnstormers, you see it, they need to continue to win here. Staten Island team off to an unbelievable start in the second half. They lead 5-3 in the bottom of the 6th. Here's a 2-0 pitch, strike high on the inside corner. 2-1. Long Island is trailing Wild Health 4-2 in the bottom of the 5th. Southern Maryland and High Point being held up by rain. Lexington and Gastonia just about to get started. Here's the motion and a 2-1. Low and away. Burcham on the verge of a walk. The tying run would go to first base. And Heath has some decent power. 1 out here in the 9th inning. Burcham bats 3-1. Tunnel ready to go. He fires and gets a pop-up on the right side. Cordero, under the direction of Tunnel, will make the catch. That is out number 2. And a big recovery for Tunnel from the 3-1 count.
Indeed.
2 down, and Heath is the final hope for the Dirty Birds here today. He's 0 for 4 with a couple of infield pop-ups, fly out to left and a ground out to that man.
Boy, it's just nice to know that you've got that flexibility of having Cordero, who we typically saw at third base, over there anchoring at first base while Dugan is down.
Heath stands in against Tunnel, and the first pitch grounded to shortstop, dug up by Felice. Barnstormers win. Wes Tunnel comes on and slams the door in the top half of the 9th inning. A 1-2-3 inning for the Barnstormers' new closer. Lancaster takes 2 out of 3 this weekend. The Barnstormers are 10-2 in the second half, 10-1 on the current homestand. So the early lead holds up today. The Barnstormers victorious, and all is positive. The win going to Eric Manoa this afternoon. No individual hitting star, but a happy group. The Barnstormers continue to roll. We'll be back with you here on Blue Ridge Tuesday night. Until then, for my partner Eric May, the folks in the truck and the folks on the cameras, as well as all the cast and crew here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, I'm Dave Collins. Have a great Sunday evening, everyone, and come Tuesday, we'll see you at the ballpark.